It is Cole Palmer's world. We are all just living in it. Welcome back to the Two Blues podcast. There is not a single person right now that can tell me that Cole Palmer is not the best player in the Premier League. There is not a single player, defender, midfielder, striker that can touch Cole Palmer, the form he is in. The guy is unbelievable. The first player to score 4 goals in a first half. Could have been more, should have been more, could have had 5, maybe could have had 6. 4 goals in a first half, 6 goals, 4 assists in just 6 Premier League games so far. There is not a player in hotter form, even with all of the goals that Erling Haaland has scored. Not a player in better form than Cole Palmer. Not a player putting out better performances, better all-round games than Cole Palmer. Week in, week out. Continues to impress us. How a player can continually push the boundaries of what we think, what we know is possible. The kid is unbelievable. That he is well within his rights to be in with a shout for Ballon d'Or. I don't know why people are assuming that players like Vinny Jr. are a lock-in for Ballon d'Or when Cole Palmer is equally as good, if not better, than Vinicius Jr., than Kylian Mbappe right now, this season. Cole Palmer is on their level, is Ballon d'Or level. There is not a single midfielder, not a single wide player in the Premier League. These conversations, it always gets lumped in around Saka, Foden. They cannot chat to him. Not a single player in the Premier League can have a serious conversation with Cole Palmer right now. Nobody. There is nobody I'd rather have in my team right now. You could give me a fully fit De Bruyne, a fully fit Odegaard. There is nobody I would rather have operating in that 10 position than Cole Palmer. In the world, I'd go as far as to say he is top 3 in the world in his position at the moment. Musiala, Wirtz, these players that are looking at, generational 150, 200 mil fees if they go somewhere next summer. Cole Palmer's in and around that conversation, hands down. Man City made a big mistake letting Cole Palmer go. And the fact that we tied him down, 7, 8 years, there's no way that he does not have a long and illustrious career at Chelsea. And I can't believe there were people on serious platforms suggesting that Cole Palmer might not be able to replicate the form that he brought to Chelsea last season. He might not be able to do it again. He might be a one-season wonder, people called him. Certain man on serious platforms, certain man with serious CVs, pundits with big names came out and said that Cole Palmer could well be a one-season wonder. You know nothing, man. The quality this guy has is permanent. This is not something that just pops into your game for a season and then leaves. Cole Palmer, the things that he is doing, the quality that he is showing on a regular basis, this is not just a player in form. This is a player that is going to be playing at the top level for years to come. For club, for country. I have no doubt that he will one day go to Real Madrid. He will one day ply his craft on the greatest stage in the world in the Champions League, year in, year out. He will be the player on the cover of FIFA. He is going to be the player that kids grow up wanting to recreate. When I was a kid, Chelsea had John Terry, Frank Lampard was the one that I wanted to be. Didier Drogba up top. Cole Palmer is the one that these kids are looking to now. And he will influence generations. I guarantee you, there has not been a generational influential talent like this in Chelsea since Eden Hazard. And we are seriously blessed to be calling this man, to have this man in our side, to have this man as our front man. And he is helped, no doubt, by an abundance of talent. You see, again, look at the bench today. When we faced Tottenham last year, it was a bench made entirely of academy graduates, of development players. And you look at that bench today, we're bringing on players like Romeo Lavia, Christopher Nkunku, João Felix, Pedro Neto. The quality, the strength in depth that Chelsea have is not far out to say that we have the best depth in the league. I don't think a single team can compete with us in terms of depth. And I put a video out earlier this week talking about, can Chelsea challenge for the title? If we can shore up that back line, and I know today, still far too many mistakes, individual mistakes, and a better team probably would have punished us. A more ruthless, clinical team probably would have punished us. But going forward, we have so much talent. We have a ridiculous embarrassment of riches in the players that we have going forward. And I'd argue that Madueke probably could get dropped next week. Probably. His game has gone a little bit sour since the hat-trick. He's got a little bit too selfish for my liking. I still think he's a fantastic player, and I'm no doubt, by no means freezing him out the squad. But Pedro Neto, coming on today, although the Cucurella goal was offside, integral in that, got the little flick on. He got in and around, got busy in and around the box. And Jackson, I said it was a big game for Chelsea and Nicholas Jackson today. I think Jackson did just enough to hold down his starting position in the Premier League. It's going to be a big game, big question come next week if Nkunku goes out and balls out in the Conference League on Thursday against Genk. But Jackson, for me, I think his link-up play, yes, he maybe should have had a couple of goals today, a couple of chances which you could blame on him, one obviously which was cleared off the line. But his assist, I thought, was fantastic. His runs on the whole were great. I think his all-round game has improved so much from the player that joined Chelsea, the player that we first saw in the first 5 games, that was blazing him over the bar at every single opportunity he got, swinging wildly at crosses, running offside 4 or 5 seconds before the ball was played. His game is far more refined now, and I think that is partially helped, and similar to how Palmer is helped by the abundance of quality around him. Jackson is helped by the quality of pass that comes through to him, the delivery. And Enzo Fernandez, I thought today, while it wasn't his best game, I thought solid in the centre midfield, and some of those passes forward, some of those passes through the lines into the final third. When we're playing against a team that's playing a high line, Enzo Fernandez, I want the first name on that team sheet. Enzo Fernandez is the one to pick the pass to unlock from deep. Cole Palmer in and around the box undoubtedly is the one that we look to make something happen. But when you're looking for a pinpoint pass to break that line, over the top or through the defense, it's always going to be Enzo Fernandez. He has the vision. He has the ability. He has the technical prowess. He's got he's got everything that we need, everything that a player needs to be a quintessential 8, a box-to-box, a Michael Essien, can do everything as a 5, as a 6 in a defensive role, as kind of closer to the pivot when he is a deep lying playmaker, but I see him bursting through, if he can add that energy to his game where he can make those late runs, those where Frank Lampard was always in the right place at the right time, coming onto the ball late, always at the edge of the box, looking to pick up that, to be that 3rd, 4th option when you do have players in and around the box. I think if Enzo Fernandez can add that element, that goal scoring threat to his game, he's a top talent as is, but that element, that extra element would take him to the next level. And I think Moises Caicedo, you can kind of forgive him, although he does have great pinpoint passes, as we saw last week. Fantastic assist for Nicholas Jackson against Bournemouth. Moises Caicedo is so good defensively, and he's so entrenched in that role that you don't really expect anything from him going forward. I'm not sitting here expecting Moises Caicedo to be picking out world-class through balls, starting attacks. He's not the one. He's the one that's doing the more defensive aspect of that role, whereas Enzo Fernandez should be focusing purely on distribution, on dictating play going forward. How many times have I said that he plays best when he has the game in front of him, when he can see it, because he can then dictate. And he's been deployed in the right position. I think the best of Enzo Fernandez in a Chelsea shirt, unbelievably, was under Graham Potter. I think that's where he was deployed correctly. Under Pochettino, it was completely wrong. He was playing him far too high. And this is a conversation that we have so frequently. And I can't believe that we have so frequently, because so many Chelsea fans still aren't sold. And rival fans as well still don't understand, still don't think he's a quality player, still don't think he deserves to be starting in that starting lineup. When we're having a conversation about Caicedo, Lavia, Enzo Fernandez, which we are going to be having in the next couple of weeks, now that Lavia is back, thank God, fingers crossed, it was, 12 minutes unscathed. But how good was it to be welcoming Romeo Lavia back to Stamford Bridge? We are, one injury in the whole squad, which is Reece James, who, let's be honest, we can virtually write off, because we know at this point he's not going to be there for a full season. We know he's not reliable in terms of someone that we can bank on to be there week in, week out. So in terms of first team injuries that impact the squad on a day-to-day basis, we have a clean bill of health at the moment. Just makes you question and just makes you wonder what Pochettino was doing in the back room, because there was no way the injuries weren't down to Pochettino. I think we all kind of had an inkling that his fitness test, the Gasson test, whatever it was, his incredibly high fitness and cardio-based regime was partly to blame for the injuries. But I think I just look at this Chelsea squad now, and I think You look at them on and off the pitch, they seem so much happier, so much more together. The morale is so much higher. I feel like this Chelsea team is in such a good place. And you look at these first 6 games, and we haven't set the world on fire week in, week out. I think the performance against Crystal Palace, probably our weakest performance, bar Man City, probably our weakest performance. And even then in the first half, we were pretty solid. I thought we were very, very good for the first 45. As soon as the goal went in, we crumbled. But I think this Chelsea team, so far, if you look at all of the performances, the teams that we played as well, I know we've had a fairly easy last 3-4 games, but Brighton, Bournemouth were unbeaten before we played them last week. Brighton unbeaten before we played them today. And Brighton are no team to laugh at. Brighton are no team to turn your nose up and to say that you should be rolling them over. And yes, they played an incredibly high line, which we exploited, and they probably should have dropped a lot earlier. And they did create a lot of their problems for themselves, but so did we today. And these are elements of our game that we, as soon as we stamp out these fine margins, these small errors, we're going to be looking at a serious squad here. You compare what pundits were saying 4 weeks ago to the Chelsea side with 40 players, going to be changing in the dress in the hall again. Not gonna have a place for half of these players. The morale's going to be through the floor. It's all going to go to pot for Enzo Maresca. He's too many chefs spoil the broth. Now we're looking at best squad depth in the league. They can challenge for a title. The players that they're bringing on are ridiculously good, and no other team in the Premier League has a bench like it. Players like Cole Palmer, Nicholas Jackson scoring on the regular, Christopher Nkunku bagging hat-tricks in the cup. There are so many positives to look at this Chelsea team. And just a quick, because I don't want to dwell too much on it, but quick, PSA on the overlap. We do not claim Rory Jennings, and I highly doubt there's going to be a Rory Jennings live match reaction or a video from that non-Chelsea fan today. We need to promote more positivity. We need to bring more of this fantastic situation to light, because we have had 48. We've had so much pain over the last 2 years, over the last 3 years, I'd say, even going back 36 months, not 48. It's a bit too tough. But in the last, actually, during COVID, as well, 48 months. It's been a torrid time to be a Chelsea fan, and we're finally seeing the fruits of our labour. All of us fans that sat there week in, week out and watched the grueling performances under Potter, under Pochettino, some of the teams, some of the 90 minutes that I wish I could scrub from my brain. And then to see some of the attacking football that we're playing today, how good do we look on the transition, on the counter, the fast break? Haven't seen this from Chelsea since Sarri Ball, and everyone knows how that went down after a while. This Chelsea side looks like it has legs. And I think it looks fresh, young. We look full of ideas. We just look different to the Chelsea side we have known and loved, and have just played a certain way and built on the mentality of strength at the back, and we build from there. Strong core, keep it tight, professional. We've never been a team to be going out, flair teams, scoring 6-7 goals. The game against Wolves was foreign, was alien to a lot of us fans that don't really see. We may get the odd route in the cup. We may, you go back to a game that sticks out in my mind, Chelsea-Wigan, last game of the season, 8-0, I think it was in the end. Some of these performances, but they're very, very rare. It's very rare you'll see a Chelsea side go out, dominate, be ruthless, take our chances. And today, we could have been, you count offside and VAR goals, whatever. It could have been 7 goals. There were 7 goals scored or whatever in the first half. We probably could have added to that, and I would have liked to see us dominate the second half a little bit more, because it was a pretty placid second half. When you compare anything to the first half, it's going to be placid. But there are still elements of our game that I think we need to refine. But at the same time, I don't think Enzo Maresca would have minded it being, calmer, slower. I don't want to say we'd won the game, but, a 2-goal margin, you're taking that into the second half thinking we've got the quality off the bench to be able to close this game out, to see this game out. We've got the experience to be professional. And, if we don't make mistakes, which again, the main thing today, we caused our own problems, architects of our own downfall yet again today. And I've got to say, it all came down to one man, Robert Sanchez. I told you, I have never been sold on Robert Sanchez, and I know he's had a great last couple of weeks, made some big saves, and again, some big saves today. And as a shot stopper, he's not that bad. I'm not putting my faith in him. I'm not putting my confidence in him. He has got Poppadom hands on too many occasions for my liking, but Robert Sanchez, the way who did he think he was? Anthony Joshua going for Daniel Dubois back in the ring last week. What was he doing? He swiped Carlos Baleba, bro. I'm surprised he didn't face more I'm surprised he didn't. Did he get booked? I'm surprised he didn't get booked. And then the pass, man. How many times have I said this guy is hospital ball 101? I can't with this guy, man. Passing out from the back is supposed to be the one thing. He was an upgrade on Kepa. Shot stopping, I have not too many qualms about Kepa in terms of the shot stopping. I think he was great. His all-round game, there were just so many other aspects of his game that were shit. But with Robert Sanchez, it seems to be the same thing, man. And George Petrovic, I would rather George Petrovic at this point. I just don't understand why we go through the same goalkeeper roundabout to end up with the same shenanigans, man. And how Enzo Maresca puts so much faith in this guy. If I was a defender for Chelsea, I wouldn't feel safe. I wouldn't feel comfortable playing with Robert Sanchez behind me. I genuinely wouldn't want to receive the ball from him, because as soon as you call for the ball, you know he's going to ping it about 5 yards to your right or left at about 70 miles an hour. The geezer is just not reliable. He's the definition of an unreliable narrator at the back, man. He's not the guy that you want to look to. And when we're looking to build a team on stability, you look at the Arsenal game today, not that I've watched it because I was watching the Chelsea game, but the Leicester keeper kept them in that game. The Leicester keeper was the one that made the difference. I was going to say in the second half, but throughout the game from what I was seeing. The importance of having a keeper that can win you or lose you a game. You look back to Petr Cech against Bayern Munich in 2012. Single-handedly won us that game. And you're never going to get that from Robert Sanchez. And if you are, it's going to be, one in every 2-3 seasons. I need a keeper that I can rely on to pull out a solid performance on the big stage. And I'm even more worried about when we do get onto the big stage. And in Europe, if Jorgensen does play in the cup all the way to the final, fantastic. But if we do look to switch it up in the knockout rounds and start to play Robert Sanchez against bigger opponents on bigger stages, I'm worried he's going to be a deer in headlights again. I really do not like him. I don't want to dislike any Chelsea player. I don't want to shit on any Chelsea player, but Robert Sanchez is just not the level. Week in, week out, he shows far too many mistakes. And today, you take Robert Sanchez out of the equation, it's 4-0. We don't concede a goal. Both mistakes came from him. I think he's just popping on hands in the box, tissue boxes on his feet when he passes, hospital ball one-on-one. He looks like a brother on ice skates sometimes. I feel like he's such a confidence-driven player. And the fact that he's had a good couple of games in the last couple of weeks might have boosted him and might have increased his performance in the last game. But that I feel like will knock him. That I feel like will set him back a peg or two. And it is very much and has always been with Robert Sanchez, 1 step forward, 2 steps back. It has never been a clear road for any of the keepers since the start of last season. You could argue since 2020, you could argue since Petr Cech left, Even with Kepa, Mendy rotating, there's always been an element of uncertainty with the Chelsea goalkeepers. And you look at this Chelsea team. I looked at the lineup today, gassed. Consistency. The same starting 11 virtually, obviously with Malo Gusto back, who only improved our team. But fully fit, that Chelsea team should not change realistically. Should be like City's, pretty much plug and play. Unless you've got 1 or 2 players that are injured or out or for whatever reason have played in midweek, can't play. It should just be pretty much plug and play with 7, 8 players in that Chelsea team. And the goalkeeper is something that should not change. For 38 games in a season, should not change. And I feel like the goalkeeper is just something you shouldn't have to worry about. We all know the old saying, if a goalkeeper makes a mistake, it ends in a goal. If someone else makes a mistake, it can be washed away. But if a goalkeeper makes a mistake, it ends in a goal. And that is why a goalkeeper is so important. Yes, it's a more difficult job. Yes, you'll fall under so much more scrutiny. But at the same time, you're there to do one job. When strikers don't score, we absolutely berate them. And when keepers let in goals, you can give them as many excuses as you want, but the goals that we conceded today were solely Robert Sanchez's fault. I don't want to hear otherwise. There is nobody that can tell me that he is a good long-term option and that we shouldn't be looking for another goalkeeper next summer. Unless Jorgensen doesn't concede a goal in the rest of in the Europa Conference League, I don't see this as a feasible solution for the long term, because George Petrovic, I know he's been tied down to a long deal and he's been sent on loan. He's not coming back. Definitely not under Enzo Maresca. He's made that very, very clear. And our goalkeeper, again, I like the fact that we've got 2 goalkeepers competing and at a near enough level to be first team. But I still think a little bit to be desired. I would choose Jorgensen over Sanchez. I'd choose Petrovic over Sanchez. I just think out of the 3, he's always been my least favourite. And today, again, just too many Small mistakes that just swing the momentum of a game. And in the Premier League, in big games against big teams, fine margins, small margins. You make one bad. We're on top against Man City. You make one bad pass, that's it. They're onto you like in a flash. 5 minutes later, you've conceded. The game's changed. There is no room for error in this game. And let's be honest, whether you agree or not, Chelsea are currently in the running for the top 4. We are still currently in the running for a title challenge. We haven't seen enough to kind of say seriously whether we will be able to do it over 38 games. But if we can keep these players fit, if we can continue to play at this level, there is no reason why we can't scrap it out with the big dogs up top, why we can't be the third team in that Arsenal Man City trifecta. I think we're going to outperform Liverpool over 38 games this season. I think hands down, we're going to outperform Tottenham and Manchester United. I think Newcastle and Aston Villa, while good teams, haven't shown me enough. Definitely Newcastle, Aston Villa, haven't shown me enough. I think this Chelsea side, I said it earlier in the video, we need to be looking at this performance, this Chelsea side right now, beaming with positivity. We need more PR. They are breaking records left, right, and centre. Nicholas Jackson and Cole Palmer still the deadliest duo in the Premier League. Another link up today. So that's, I think 11 goal contributions together in 6 games. Cole Palmer now, 6 goals, 4 assists in 6 games. Nico Jackson still on 4, but still, another assist to his game today. Jadon Sancho, 3 assists in 3 games. There is not a single Chelsea player that I think is not enjoying their time at the club right now. And you couldn't say the same last year. You couldn't look at this squad and not look at that bench and think half of them were probably absolutely miserable. When they go home, they have nightmares about Chelsea. They don't want to think. They dread getting up to work on a Monday. But these players, we're creating a positive environment. And we saw what Maresca said yesterday about, he wants the first team players, even if they're not involved in the first team squad, wants all the first team players to be there at every single home game. And I think these small things, these fine margins that Enzo Maresca is implementing behind the scenes as well as on the pitch, they are propelling this club to the next level. And we've been saying for, 4 years now, this is a team in transition. This is an unprecedented era for Chelsea. It's going to take time. How many times have we heard, trust the project, trust the process? Finally, I'm starting to trust it. I was skeptical about Enzo Maresca when he first came in. I'll be the first to hold my hands up and say I was not sold. I did not like the fact that we were going for a championship-proven manager at best, be it a Pep disciple. I was on the fence about Enzo Maresca 100%. And in pre-season, I did not see enough. Comparing it maybe harshly so to Pochettino's pre-season in the US, which I thought was very, very positive. I thought Enzo Maresca's pre-season with Chelsea was lackluster. And obviously, there were a fair few players, Cucurella, Cole Palmer, Enzo Caicedo, that weren't part of the team. And they obviously were going to be part of the team for this season. So it wasn't fair to judge this Chelsea team based on that pre-season. But at the same time, I'll admit it, I was skeptical. I did not have high hopes for Chelsea this year. When I made our predictions at the start of the year, I think I said 5th, and that was kind of hopeful. I was saying, look, we should be getting top 4 this year. Champions League is what we are aiming for. There shouldn't really be an excuse not to get it. Do I think we are going to get it? Looking at the teams and their recruitment, I wasn't sure. But 2-3 weeks down the line, I am confident that we are top 4. I'm pretty confident that we're challenging in the top 3. I don't see that there are many teams that could knock us off our perch. I think even, the Man City defeat in the first game of the season did not set Maresca back, did not dent our plans. I think, if anything, that showed us that we are closer to where we need to be than we initially thought. I think that 2-0 defeat really spurred us on. And the fact that we've now won 4 games on the bounce, we can make that 5 against Genk. This is a serious run of form. We were talking about the 6 games starting with Bournemouth as an ability, an opportunity for Chelsea to lay down a marker this season. And you already see pundits turning on their opinions, doing a 180 on what they said at the start of the season, that Chelsea weren't going to be able to compete. Too many players, too messy, dressing room was a shambles. Whatever they were saying, it was all youth, inexperience, ain't going to do it. There is not a more exciting team in the Premier League. There's probably not a more exciting team in the world to watch for neutrals right now. If I was a neutral, 100% the game I'd be tuning into at 3 o'clock on a Saturday, if I had the choice, is Chelsea. Luckily, I have the blessing of being able to say that I was going to be watching this game regardless. But how often have we been able to enjoy Chelsea performances? And I know there are still elements of the game. Robert Sanchez at the back, our defense is not 100%. The ship is not watertight. There are still, still a little bit squeaky bum time. 4-2, 86 minutes, Brighton get a free kick on the edge of the box. I'm thinking if this goes in, I wouldn't put it past them to go out and score another and then finish 4-4. That would be a very Chelsea thing to do. And then we're looking at this game very, very differently as being far too open from the back, far too many mistakes, ill-disciplined. But at the end of the day, this team got it over the line. And how many times have we said this Chelsea team last year, 2 seasons ago, would not have won these games? They would have fumbled. They would have bottled it. These games that we're winning 5-0 against Barrow, this Chelsea team probably would have struggled 2 years ago to beat Barrow, at least with the dominance that we did. But we didn't even look like we have to break a sweat on Tuesday. And then games like today, Brighton, we're beating the teams that we've been struggling to beat. West Ham, Bournemouth, solid performances in there. Bournemouth, I'll admit, maybe not as solid as the other two. But Brighton, I mean, I'm very, very happy on the whole with this performance. I'm going to jump into the comments. Before we do, guys, quite a few people watching. Please make sure to like, comment, subscribe to the channel if you're not already. But Gabriel, agree with me, man. Sanchez was horrendous. Is there anybody in the chat that thinks Sanchez is the best keeper on Chelsea's books? If you include George Petrovic, if we take those three, Jorgensen, Petrovic, Sanchez, is there anybody that ranks Sanchez as number one? Because I don't know anybody personally that rates Sanchez above Petrovic or Jorgensen. I know my co-host Charms does not rate him any more than I do. And I really do not understand what Maresca sees in him. He must be a completely different player behind closed doors. But like I said, when he gets on the big stage, it's deer in headlights. He freezes. And hospital ball 101 yet again. I'm never going to have faith in this guy. He failed the eye test. And for me, that's so crucial. He hasn't done enough, even with some of the good shot-stopping performances that he's put in. Hasn't shown me enough in his all-round game to convince me that he's the answer. I mean, like I said at the start of the video, first thing I said, Gabriel, it's a cold world. We're all just living in it. Is there a better player? And, talking of chat, give me answers. Is there a better player in the Premier League? I don't think so. I'm taking Cole Palmer in the 10 over Odegaard, over De Bruyne, over Bruno Fernandes, over Maddison, over anyone. I'm taking Cole Palmer over Bellingham. I'm taking Cole Palmer over Wirtz, Musiala, Olise. There's not a single player in the world right now that can chat to Cole Palmer. I'm sorry. Appreciate you joining, Gabriel, by the way. Big up you. Big up R Cook Roofing Services as well. Anybody need a new roof? Hit up R Cook. Cool. I bet you're raking it in the last couple of weeks, fella. I know at work our fucking leak, our roof went. But there's been a lot of leaks in the last couple of weeks. I think Jorgensen will be in the starting 11. So it will be interesting because obviously he is cup keeper at the moment. And I think Enzo Maresca is a stubborn guy. I think it would take a lot for him to make that switcheroo, to make that change. But I hope it happens personally. I'd at least give him a chance. JC, appreciate you joining, bro. I genuinely think the top teams are starting to get a bit worried about us right now. I reckon there's still loads more to come as well. This is only the start. You've got to remember that this Chelsea team has got a new manager, didn't have the whole preseason together. Cole Palmer and Cucurella were late getting back into the squad. Jadon Sancho's only just joined up as well. We're still figuring out our best team. A lot of these, two or three of these players are just coming back from injuries. Malo Gusto, Romeo Lavia, Christopher Nkunku. We haven't even got our captain, Reece James, on, who on his day is one of the best right backs in the world. This Chelsea team, we're stacked. I've got no problems. I don't feel like we need to do any, obviously, touch wood. No, big injuries aside, no need to recruit in January. No need to buy anybody else. We've got more than enough talent. I'm very, very happy. Gabriel, that's what I'm saying, bro. That's what I'm saying. And we're adding Kenji Payas and Esteban Willian in 2025. That's going to be nuts. For the FIFA World Cup as well, are going to make their debuts in the FIFA World Cup. It'll be interesting to see how and where they fit into this team because, I mean, immediately, Cole Palmer's not dropping out. I can see one of them taking Sancho or taking the left wing, and I can see one of them taking the right wing. Or if Enzo Fernandez, if Esteban Willian, wants to play in the number 10, which we've heard reports of, I think he probably will play on the out wide and on the right. It makes more sense to me to have Cole Palmer in the middle and Esteban Willian on the right. But yeah, Cole Palmer on the right, Esteban Willian in the 10, Kenji Payas on the left, Nicholas Jackson up front, obviously. This team Top teams shouldn't just be worried about us now. Top teams should be worried about us for the next 5 years. And I said, even last year when it was miserable, I was saying, look, don't watch this now. Watch where this Chelsea team will be. And I know we've all had our problems with the owners. And when it's going badly, everybody looks to the owners as a scapegoat. When it's going well, you don't really hear too much about them. And they are probably going to get a little bit of praise for the recruitment that they've done and for the team that they've built, for this squad that they have built, which rightly so. I think they did have a larger view than a lot of other people. I think a lot of people were boxed in, had tunnel vision when they were looking at this. They were looking at it with agendas. They were looking at it with pre-formed opinions and pre-formed notions of what was going on around Chelsea Football Club. But they have no doubt built a team for the future. They have no doubt invested wisely. They've no doubt invested a lot smarter in terms of the average transfer fee, the average wage, the average financial impact of the club. Compare it to the Abramovich era. You know, we all miss Uncle Roman. I miss when we had a team full of proven winners, when we had leaders, you know, national team captains front to back in 6 or 7 positions. You know, we were a formidable team that you did not want to go up against, but we're going to recreate that now with young talents for the future who are going to step up to the next level, already be invested in this squad, and then they are going to be able to learn together, grow together. You see the dominance of Man City, that doesn't just come from 1-2 seasons. That comes from 5-6 seasons playing with the same players, playing in the same system under the same manager. That's what Chelsea have been obviously lacking for 20 years. That's what Chelsea have been lacking. Well, Chelsea have never had stability. The most stability we've ever had is in 2-3 years under Jose Mourinho. And even then, you know, fractious times. It was never all cherry, you know, it was never all sweets and candy. It was never an easy ride for Chelsea. It never is. You're always going to have criticisms coming from all over, you know, the media, rival fans, but also in terms of our own club and our own fan base. You're always going to have the people that look to the negatives. But please find me negatives from today. Robert Sanchez aside, find me negatives about this. You know what? This club as a whole, because I can't really dig out Robert Sanchez as a major problem of this club and where we are right now. Can you dig me out faults? Can you come out here and be negative about that Chelsea performance? Not a chance. We have the best player in the world right now plying his trade and boosting everybody else alongside him. Everybody else must be gassed that they get to play alongside Cole Palmer. And the fact that he is just elevating them to his level as well. We're seeing players putting in fantastic performances week in, week out. How often have I said, and you can go back to my video in midweek when I was talking about can Chelsea challenge or can Chelsea win the league? You look at these teams, they have never been, I've never doubted the individual quality of any of these players. It's always been about the sum, about the collective. Can they become more than the sum of their individual parts? And more often than not, it's been no. But now we are starting to see what happens when this Chelsea team clicks, comes together and improves each other. They are all giving each other legs up. They are all helping each other. And the one thing that I would have liked to have seen from Madueke today, which I see from every other Chelsea player, is that they want each other to score. They want to help each other. They want to put it on a plate for somebody else because they understand that those team goals, they are so much more important than an individual scream and than an individual goal. It's so much more important to be working in tandem and to be on the same wavelength, because when you do that for somebody else will then reciprocate it for you when you're in the next position, and that's 2 goals instead of 1 or 2 goals instead of none if you've both missed. It's the small things, and this community spirit, this morale, this team that Enzo Maresca is trying to build. I see it. I see the vision. I like it. I'm a big fan of it. Long may it continue. Reminder, guys, please make sure to drop us a like on the channel. It really does help on the algorithm. Drop us a comment as well. Get involved. Not going to be much longer on the live stream. Got to go do the TikTok. But yeah, make sure to subscribe to the channel if you're not already as well. Yeah, Gabriel, thank you, City, for Palmer. Can't thank them enough. They could have, if they want, I was going to say send them another 40 mil. If they want, we'll send them 2 more installments, each of 40 mil. I'm happy to send them 80 million more pounds for Cole Palmer because he is worth every penny of 120 mil. I'd say he's worth every penny of 150 mil at the moment. If somebody came in with a bid in January for Palmer for 200 mil, I'd turn my nose up at it. I would not consider a bid for Cole Palmer. Cole Palmer is untouchable, priceless. Nobody in the world could convince me that Cole Palmer is not the best player in the Premier League right now. Young Tolafari, appreciate you joining, bro. I think we're in the right direction. Come on, you Blues. Up the Chelsea. You're not wrong there, bro. We are definitely heading in the right direction. And what better place to finish? Parma is the best place in the world right now. He sure as shit is. I think Lamine Yamal is nailed on for Golden Boy. For me, Cole Palmer's got to be in the conversation. If he's not top 3, if he's not top 2, there's corruption at its finest. But Cole Palmer really should be Ballon d'Or this year. There is no player that's outperformed him since he's joined Chelsea. No player that can chat to him in any position. But yeah, appreciate every single person joining, by the way. I'm going to lock this off now because I've got to go do TikToks, got to go do other edits, other live streams. Hopefully me and Mr. C Money will be able to bring you a full match reaction or some more breakdown or some more, some more insight, analysis into this game. But big game tomorrow as well. Tottenham Man United. Might do something for that. Maybe on the TikTok or the Instagram. Don't really think it's YouTube worthy because we didn't do Man City Arsenal, so can't really be doing Man United Tottenham. But yeah, everyone. Two Blues podcast on the Instagram and TikTok as well. Make sure you go and follow that because I'll be dropping my short very soon. I'll drop one on Cole Palmer. Robert Sanchez one might be tonight, might be tomorrow. We'll see how we go. JC, do you think we still need a striker? I don't. I'm happy with what we got. No, we do not need a striker. I said in the summer, look, if you're going to go out and get a proven goal scorer, I'm not going to turn my nose up, but I think we have more than enough talent. And with Nkunku and Jackson, I think if you bring in another striker, one of them is going to get unhappy. It's going to create problems. We have more than enough. Worst case scenario, reassess in January. And if we need to go out and spend. I am incredibly happy we didn't. I'm incredibly happy I had that stance and I can maintain that stance. And yeah, I see no need for another striker. We've obviously got the youth strikers as well. David Washington, Mark Yu, Donald McNeely, Ronnie Stutter. There's a lot of players that can come through and do that job. I really don't see the need to go and, we've got 8 players for 4 positions. Perfect. Unless Cole Palmer gets injured, unless Nkunku or Jackson gets injured, with an ACL or something like that. No, we are going to need to rotate definitely, throughout the season, and it will become more important the longer the season goes on. The further we get into cup competitions, fingers crossed, God willing, but it will become more important to have multiple quality players that are happy and willing to compete. And if we have 3-4 players for each position, then you're going to start creating problems for yourself, which is not going to end well for anyone. So no, I'm very happy. Short answer. No requirement for a striker now or in the foreseeable future. But yeah, I'm going to lock it off there for you guys. Like I said, make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Actually, shit. What was the Chelsea youth score today? I was going to do a Chelsea live stream for the Chelsea development squad, but they've probably wrapped. Development centre. No, development squad. Did Arsenal get away with it, by the way? Did Arsenal win? Are they won 4-2? Oh, fuck off. How'd that happen? Kai Havertz. Man, they were close. That would have been monumental. If we'd have gone above Arsenal today, that would have been monumental. I would have been sending out so many texts. And that's the thing as well. I'm going to be unbearable. I've never been... Chelsea have been a winning club my entire life. I have never made the most of it in terms of ringing it on rival fans. In the last 2-3 seasons, we've had nothing but shit. We've had nothing but flack. We've been the banter club. Oh, they played yesterday. Oh, yeah. Oh, I saw this on Instagram, Rev. Yeah, I missed the game. Donald McNeely scored yesterday, though. See? I know what I'm talking about. And that's the ADHD. I have no idea what I was just saying. Something about Arsenal? Fuck. No idea. Someone feel free to remind me in the comments. But yeah, no, I'm going to lock it off there, guys. Appreciate every single person that's tuned in. If you haven't already, please, guys, like the channel. Just hit that like button. Don't take anything. Don't cost nothing. Just hit that like button for us. Drop us a comment as well. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already. Really, really helps us out. Really, go back and watch my video on the week. Very well timed. Can Chelsea challenge for the Premier League title? It's only 20 minutes. Good watch. A little bit slower than this as well. My live match reactions are boom, boom, boom. But the other videos are a little bit more reserved and a little bit more Tranquilo. So yeah, go back, watch that. Subscribe to Two Blues Podcast on the YouTube. Make sure you follow Two Blues Podcast on the Instagram, on the TikTok. My short's going to be coming out very soon, hopefully in the next 45 minutes to an hour. Watch this space, and yeah, might be back tomorrow for another live stream. So turn your notifications on, why don't you? Appreciate every single person.